Hey, how are you all doing? Today, I want to talk about the game Dune Awakening. Is it going to be the best survival MMO of 2025? They have shown us a lot of footage at Gamescom 2024. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. But I want to speak about a couple of topics that have been quite interesting about this game, such as the animations, the gameplay, and also weapon crafting in this game, which has got me quite questioning if this game is really going to be the best survival game of 2025. So yeah, let's just get straight into it and I'll share my opinions with you. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Dune Awakening and let's go. So the moment you step into this game, from what I've seen from the trailers of Gamescom 24, you will be greeted by the character creation system. In this system, you are able to create your very own character like any other RPG game out there. But what is interesting is that once you are done with creating your character's looks, you are able to give it special abilities. You can choose your mentor, and the mentor also represents what skills you can use in the game of Dune Awakening. Now, this is quite interesting. I haven't seen this done before, where you can choose a mentor and that mentor basically gives you specific skills that you can use in the game. So I'm quite interested to see how this turns out to be when the full game releases. Now, they have also said that later in the game, you are able to choose different abilities and even change classes. That's also something we have to see how that unfolds in the full game. So yeah, quite interesting. Now, once you are done creating your character, you will land on the planet of Arrakis, the same as in the movies. But what is most interesting is that you will get immediately greeted by all the survival mechanics that are in the game. As we can see here in the gameplay footage, you are immediately greeted by the sunstroke. And the sunstroke, well, it basically means that you have to keep your character hydrated. Especially since you're on the planet of Arrakis, it's just a desert, so it makes perfect sense. Now, you are also able to gather plants, and these plants will give you water later in the game. Now, this is a survival mechanic that I haven't seen before, where you can gather plants to gather water, so it's quite interesting to see how this plays out when people are actually gonna play the game. So another thing that has been quite catching my attention is the base building in Dune Awakening. Now, as you can see here in the footage that I have in your screens right now, you can see that these people are building a base together. I'm not sure if you can build the base together. Maybe you can, maybe you cannot. That's something we have to see in the full release. But looking at this footage, however, you can see that it might be possible to build a base together. And also, if you have this ambition to move your base somewhere else in the map, you don't have to build that base all up from the ground again. You can basically just move that base in its full glory without having to build it again, which is really interesting to see and a really great addition to the game. Now, once you've got your base set up, it's time for you to head out into the world. You are able to clear settlements with your friends or random people. Now, when you meet these people, you can choose to be a bandit, shoot them down, take their loot, or work together, taking down these settlements that are full of AI. Now, once you get to these settlements, you are able to shoot down the AI, probably loot them, and also gather a lot of interesting stuff. However, there is this thing where you can craft guns in the crafting menu. However, this seems really dull. I'm not sure if you guys agree with me, but it's just a crafting menu where you can create your own gun. It's basically a starting gun, as they say in the gameplay footage, but just, gathering a couple of ingredients and pressing craft seems just a bit boring. I hope they will change this in the full game. So yeah, I hope it starts to get more interesting, because the way it looks now, it's just dull in my opinion. However, a really cool mechanic that I've seen is that you are able to extract blood from the fallen AI that you take down. Now, once you take this blood, you can actually drink it. However, there will be debuffs attached to that. So if you don't want those debuffs, you are able to build a blood purifier in your base. Now, this purifier will take a couple of minutes before it purifies the blood that you've gathered from the fallen enemies, but this blood will be turned into drinkable water, and you can drink that water to keep your character hydrated. Now, like I said, the sunstroke will really kill your character. It's a survival MMO, so you really need to keep an eye on your hydration, especially since you're on the planet of Arrakis, which is full of desert. So definitely, when you need it, gather some blood from your enemies, put it in your blood purifier, and you will be able to drink it a couple of minutes later. This is a really cool mechanic. I really like this. So as I mentioned in the beginning of this video, one thing that has bothered me the most is the way way that the melee attacks are animated. As you can see here in this footage, you see this guy dashing into his opponent and stabbing him down with his sword. However, this looks really dull. Just look at this. It's really not my cup of tea. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. I hope these animations get changed in the full release, because now they just feel a bit dull. I really hope they change it. So what they have also shown us about Dune Awakening is the vehicle creation system. Now, as you know, Arrakis can be pretty big. It's a big desert planet. So a vehicle is pretty much a must. Now, once you gather a couple of materials that you need, you'll be able to place down a vehicle crafting station. Now, in this vehicle crafting station, you are able to build your own very motorbike that you will use to traverse along the desert. And once you get even better materials, you are able to craft your own omnicopter. And once you get this omnicopter, the game really opens up for you, which we are going to discuss later down in this video. So another thing that the developers of Dune Awakening have shown us are dynamic events. As you can see in the footage right here, a ship that has been shot down out of the sky is going to crash on Arrakis. Now, once you go to this ship, you will be able to scavenge crates, and these crates will have interesting materials that you can use to craft in your base. Now, keep in mind that if you are in a player versus player zone, or PvP for short, other players will be able to battle you for those loots as well. But if you are in a PvE area, you will have to be the fastest player to get there and loot everything. So keep that in mind. Now, the nighttime of Dune Awakening is also quite interesting to talk about. Now, during the nighttime, you won't have to deal with sunstroke anymore, which is self-explanatory, of course. However, there are gonna be different threats that you have to deal with. Now, as you can see here, up in the sky, you will see a ship that will be searching for players with their big headlights. Now, if you get spotted by these headlights, there will be Sardaukar heading down and hunting down the players, which is also quite interesting to see. Now, as I mentioned before a little bit, I want to talk about the ornithopter, which you can craft once you get further down into the game. If I'm not mistaken, it's about 60 to 90 hours in. I could be wrong, let me know down in the comments. But from what I've heard, once you are able to build your ornithopter, you will be able to travel faster across Arrakis. Now, once you get this ornithopter, you will be able to travel to Harco, which is like a player hub where you can meet other people, pledge your alliance to different factions in the game, and also be able to buy stuff that your character needs, as well as sell it to one of the merchants there. Now, this is really interesting to see. I'm quite curious how this plays out in the full game. Will it lag? Will there be too many people around these areas? Yeah, let's see how that turns out. Now, we were also shown testing stations. Now, testing stations are basically dungeons which you can compete in with your friends. Now, once you get to these dungeons, you will clear them, and at the end there will be a really nice treasure chest waiting for you. Now, once you open these treasure chests, you will be able to find really interesting loot and crafting materials that you will need to craft better stuff in the game to make your character even better. The developers have shown that you can do testing stations with teams. However, they have not said anything about doing them on your own. So I think this is going to be a team-only effort. For the solo players out there, I am sorry. Again, I am not sure if this is true. However, from what I've seen, this is probably going to be a team-only effort dungeon that you can compete in. Now, another thing to keep in mind is once you do testing stations, it's better to have a team that has different abilities that can back each other up. Now, we get shown a skill tree where you can choose different types of abilities that can help your team or whatever playstyle you like to play. However, keep in mind that helping your team is probably the better bet that you can do. So definitely, if you are going to do testing stations, look out for what your team needs and basically build on that. Now let's talk a bit about the endgame of Dune Awakening. What I've seen from the footage is that the deep desert is going to be the PvP zone, and this is also going to be the end zone. So for people who do not like PvP, I am sorry, it's probably going to be the only end game out there once you get your character all grown up with cool abilities and cool weapons that you can use. So yeah, deep desert is, from my understanding, a full PvP area, and another dynamic event is also going to occur in this area, which is the spice hunt, where you have to gather as much spice as you can. But since the deep desert is a full PvP zone, other players or guilds can take the spices away from you, battling you for it. But if you are on the losing side, what you can do, and this is quite interesting, it really resembles the movie really well, is placing down a thumper, and a thumper will basically call the big sandworm. So once the big sandworm comes, you will dip out and your enemies will get eaten by the sandworm. This is actually a really cool mechanic. I want to see how this plays out. So are you going to play Dune Awakening once it releases next year? year. It's going to be in early Q1 of 2025. So it's gonna be really soon as of making this video. So let me know, are you guys gonna check it out? Don't forget to leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing content like this one. And check out this video next about the RPG that is coming out, which is Crimson Desert. You don't want to miss out on that video because Crimson Desert is also another great RPG that is gonna come out real soon. Thanks for watching and see you next time.